Roadkill. It's quite a morbid subject by its very definition, but I wanted to talk about it today because a thought crossed my mind today, and it's something that I've been thinking about on and off for quite some time now, because I don't know if this is a coincidence. I don't know if this is just something that is specific to where I live and the roads that I drive on, but I would say the amount of roadkill that I've noticed in recent times here in the north of England has increased. It has increased quite a bit over the past few years. Again, maybe this is just something in my own head. Maybe this is something that is local to me. Maybe I'm just getting really unlucky by discovering these poor animals that have very tragically succumbed to a roadside collision. It is not something that is uncommon at all. Now, a reason for this that I hypothesized about was EVs, because EVs are a lot quieter than regular ICE internal combustion engine cars by their very nature. And in fact, I think some EVs, depending on where you are in the world, I think some of them actually have to artificially louden themselves to make themselves compliant, because I'll be honest, a long time ago when EVs first started to become really popular, when I kind of discovered my first Tesla out in the wild, it almost drove into me because it was so quiet going around the supermarket car park. And I know people will say, oh, you should have looked where you were going. And yeah, absolutely should have done. But the fact that it was so quiet, I think, did not help. And then I thought, with the whole roadkill thing, is there a connection here? Is the increased prevalence of EVs actually contributing to more roadkill on the road? So I kind of went down a bit of a rabbit hole about this. Because when EVs first got really popular, it was the early 2020s. And that was also a time where we had the pandemic. So it was a very unusual time, really, when it came to transportation. You know, a lot of people were traveling less, so therefore the roads from the animals' point of view was probably a lot safer. And I thought maybe that could have contributed to it. And believe it or not, I actually read an academic study from a university in Lithuania. I know the internet takes you all sorts of places, doesn't it? And the results of that were quite inconclusive. At first, when the pandemic first happened, roads reported a lot less roadkill because a lot less people were traveling on them. But then when things started to open up, 21, 22, the number of roadkill was basically higher than was actually expected. So a bit of a bounce back effect perhaps going on there. So that was a bit inconclusive. Then I stumbled on an article here. I'm just going to read some bits out from it. I'm not going to show it on the screen, but I will credit it. It's on Heatmap. It's written by Jeva Lang, and the article is from 2023. And the tagline of it is, EVs will save the planet, but not roadkill. And basically, this is just basically an interview that Jeva has done with an author who has authored a book called Crossings, which was written by Ben Goldfarb. Basically, she just interviews Ben here, and there's a lot of interesting kind of takeaways from this, and I'm just going to go through some of them just to dispel some of the myths, some of the misconceptions that I personally had when it came to EVs in terms of their noise as well on roads, and how I don't think they're really to blame for this. I think something else is going on, but I still wanted to go through this anyway, just to go through their kind of findings here, because it is an interesting read. Now, when it comes to the technology in some of these EVs, it is very, very impressive. We do have things such as accident prevention in a lot of new cars nowadays, but there are some such as Tesla that really have, and Waymo as well. Never heard of Waymo? I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but never heard of those guys. But they have some accident prevention things in their car, and I imagine it would be quite similar for a lot of new cars nowadays, but they definitely have them where the autonomous side of things will take over if they spot a deer crossing the road, and it will try and avoid it. So when it comes to avoiding large animals that can be picked up by the headlights, by the cameras in the front of the car, EVs arguably are safer. At least modern cars in general are a lot safer than cars from the past. So that is something that could help. For smaller animals, it's less clear. They won't really be able to avoid that so easily. Obviously, you, the driver, could avoid them potentially, but sometimes it's hard. You could be traveling at a really high speed and only see this animal at the absolute last minute. But that is something that's across the board. That is not something that's EV specific. Now, the reason why I thought that EVs were, potentially contributing to this more than other cars was basically because they are quieter. But most of the noise, particularly at high speeds anyway, most of the noise that is produced by cars is not actually produced by the engine. It's just produced by the tires on the road, the air that is rushing past the car. Most of the sound, particularly at higher speeds, unless you've got a really, really amped up car with like a blown exhaust sort of thing going on, most of the noise actually comes from the car itself rather than the engine, so it's not really that relevant. Yes, EVs are heavier, and that will make them slightly louder actually as well. So in a sense, it's actually probably not that. So I don't think the noise is actually a contributing factor really when it comes to this. So honestly, I don't know what's causing this increase in roadkill. Even if it is increasing, just in my own personal experience, I would say it is. But I don't think EVs are the cause of this. I mean, I'm happy to discuss this in the comments with you guys. It's one of them where I just go in with a bit of a theory as to what is going on here, and I just think what has changed in the last few years when it comes to the automotive landscape of the UK and a lot of Western countries. It is the fact that we've got EVs now. We didn't have them to the same prevalence as before, but from what I can tell, I don't think it's them. I think something else is going on. It could be good old climate change, which is always a controversial subject. I don't know personally. I'm not. I've researched this as much as I can. I've looked up as much as I can, but in terms of a conclusive answer, all I can say is that it's probably not EVs. There's probably other factors that are more significant when it comes to this. But yeah, like I said, quite a morbid subject, quite literally. You guys let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think that the roadkill numbers have increased over the past few years? Is this something that you've noticed as well? Just get your thoughts in there. I want to hear what you have to say. And if you want to see some more videos on the world of motoring and cars, do keep it tuned here to themotoringchronicle.com, guys. Have a great day, and stay safe out there.